working on an economic blueprint, and the agenda is very simple. We hope to be able to compete with the 20 largest economies of this world by the year 2020 in all facets, regards to development indicators, regards to growth rates, regards to competitiveness. Today, Nigeria is the 47th largest economy in the world. We intend to drop at least 27 points by the year 2020. It's very clear that we have certain challenges, both political, social, economic. Now, we believe we have addressed the political problems. There are certain constraints that have stopped us achieving our economic potential. Now, the agenda of this government is to do away with all those impediments. And a key element, we believe, is investments. In investing, we have to create the base foundation structure to facilitate the growth of the economy. Now, teams like yours, delegations like yours, investors and interested parties like you have to be engaged frontally, meaning that the country has opened its doors to encourage you. Across all sectors and subsectors, opportunities avail themselves. We're trying to have growth rates, double-digit growth rates. People think it's just a dream. But when you see that the non-oil sector is growing at presently 10.2% for the year half year 2008, and the oil sector effectively actually having negative growth, if we can turn around the problems in the Niger Delta, bring back at least another 1 million barrels on stream, you can see that the oil sector will facilitate this and we will be within the double-digit objective that we want to achieve. So I believe the opportunities are there. The opportunity of being here this morning means that you have gotten to a level where government has recognized your presence, and we as ministers are facilitators. The opportunity here will be for the ambassador to ensure you have all our numbers, our emails, direct access. The idea is to cut protocols, to cut diplomatic processes, to have a direct access with the NIPC, with ministers, with ministries, with agencies of government. Government is changing its position to that of being a regulator, meaning we will be strengthening the institutions for standards of goods and services. We will be there to protect you as investors. We will also be there to protect Nigerians as consumers or users of the services and facilities that you intend to put in place at obviously affordable prices within the context of our national development agenda. To that extent, we want to mete out to you the necessary confidence that you need when coming through to Nigeria to invest. Clearly, you know the size and the growth and the outturns of the capital market. The sizes of our banks have moved, from very small banks to, we have at least 7 within the first 1,000 banks in the world today. Foreign exchange is no longer an issue. You can bring in 100% of your investment and you can take out 100% of your investment. The government or the central bank only occasionally intervenes with regards to the provision of foreign exchange. So what used to happen 20, 25 years ago is no longer an issue. So I would want to think that with this opportunity and being led by the chairman or the president of the Nigerian Dutch Netherlands Chamber of Commerce, I think you have the necessary direction. You have the necessary support, and I am sure he'll be able to give you adequate briefing with regards to government policies and the general direction of our economic agenda. So on that note, it is our pleasure on behalf of my colleagues here to give you the necessary wherewithal that in the oil, gas, those are we have a competitive edge in that regard. But other sectors, non-oil, that's the solid mineral sectors, whether you're talking of coal, gold, diamonds, columbite, tantalite, tanzalite, you name it. We have almost every resource necessary, uranium. Licenses are being bidded for, and we can conveniently tell you that all processes of allocating licenses, leases, or concessions will be done in a very transparent manner. The era of lack of transparency, I believe, is over, and the confidence is that you don't have to know anybody personally to do business in this country today. So on that note, I would want to rest our case, and you're all welcome to do business in Nigeria. Thank you.
To Nigeria and to the presidency. You've listened to the Honorable Minister of Planning, so I'm just trying to cap it off because I don't have any much addition to make. But first I have to commend our ambassador for within a very short period of our posting to bring this very, very formidable delegation to Nigeria to encourage us. That shows commitment, because we always say that this is a time for changes. Officials of government, ambassadors, ministers, and in fact, even my office, I told all my aides that if you sit down to do routine jobs, I could just give you a maximum of 50%, no matter how efficient and effective you are, if I'm to assess you. But you must be creative, you must think, and come up with some kind of suggestions that will make government add quality to life. Sitting down to treat files and be messengers cannot score you beyond 50%. And they be doing. So that is the challenge we give all government functionaries, that people must be creative, people must think, and people must do things that will improve the quality of life of our people. So for you, within this short period, to come up with this team, on behalf of Mr. President, I have to sincerely thank you and commend you for that effort. And our brother, the Netherlands ambassador to Nigeria, I sincerely thank you for encouraging your people to come. You could have just mentioned to them that, look, there is crisis in the Niger Delta, don't bother to come. And they wouldn't have been here today. But you are encouraging them to come and invest in all parts of Nigeria. That shows that you really want Nigeria to grow. And I'm not surprised, because like you yourself have gone through the relationship between Nigeria and Netherlands, the history that dates over 100 years of effective business relationship. We're indeed happy for that. Of course, when you always talk about Nigeria now, oil is the #1 factor, though you just didn't bother about that area. But also noting that the company that was able to get oil at commercial quantity, and that revolutionized the oil industry in Nigeria, is an Anglo-Dutch company. That placed us as almost Siamese twins that you cannot separate. Other companies, exploitation of oil dated back to 1808 or something like that from records. But until Shell DRK came in, about 1935 and about 1956, they discovered oil in commercial quantity at Library. Oil was not a factor in the Nigerian economy. So our links are solid, and I'm indeed happy that such a powerful team is coming to continue with that. So I have to thank my brother Basil, the country chair of Shell, and the chairman of the Nigerian Netherlands Chambers of Commerce Industry for also facilitating and encouraging this formidable team to come. And we have to assure you that your interest in coming to invest in Nigeria will not be in vain. You've listened to the Honorable Minister of Planning. By the time you will visit him, he may have a more than 1 hour session with you, and he will take you through all the areas. But like he said, we are to move from 47 position to 20 position in about 12 years. This looks like a dream. The other countries are not sleeping. That means that we must work extremely hard, and we are really committed. That's why the ambassador told you that, look, Nigeria is almost like a boiling point, and this is the best time for you to come, because we are looking at every option to involve everybody to see how we can, because it's obvious. Government alone cannot create jobs for the people of this country. And most of the crises in the Niger Delta that you must have read from the media on the internet is because there are so many unemployed young men and women. Some of them are technically trained. Some probably have university degrees but not well technically trained, but they have the potential to be well trained and they will contribute meaningfully to society. But because they're out of this criminality, so make sure that people are engaged in meaningful production. Government cannot provide the jobs. This is the private sector that can provide the jobs. So we must encourage the private sector. Well, almost everything about this country now is being exposed to the private sector. Areas that hitherto government take it as an exclusive preserve, it's now being opened for the private sector to come in. And we are getting positive reactions from people across the globe. And I'm indeed happy that today, one of the oldest business links, that is the Netherlands team, is here to also encourage us. So when we say we are moving from 47 to 20 position in about 12 years, people say, yes, it is a big dream, but we believe that we can make it if we are committed. Government is now concentrating in the areas that can encourage the private sector to thrive, because for the economy to grow, it is the private sector, it's not the government. But the environment must be created for the private sector to thrive. And that is the aspect the government is concentrating now. We have a 7-point agenda, but even within the 7-point agenda, we are strategizing to make sure that those of us who are Christians, I'm not bringing religion into this, we always have this belief that seek the kingdom of God first, that every other thing will be added. So we are looking at these areas that can encourage the private sector